This video is brought to you by True Tales of Buried Treasure, the largest collection of old treasure magazines in the West. On our website, you can search for individual treasure stories by region, or buy our original magazines themselves. To pay us a visit, please click on the link in the description. Enjoy. Near the ghost town of Stanton, Arizona, 80 miles west of Phoenix, one of the world's largest untapped gold deposits lies buried, with estimates valuing it between $350 million and $2 billion. Stanton was once a thriving mining town that struck it rich in the early 1860s, but today, it's little more than a few aging wooden structures, a lone caretaker, and the persistent wind from the surrounding mountains. Just 50 to 70 feet below, mineralogists believe there's enough gold to make someone extremely wealthy. But the challenge is getting to it. Glenn Walker, an engineer with Arizona's Department of Mineral Resources, doesn't mince words. There's a lot of gold down there, but nobody knows how much. If you pan after a rainstorm, you'll find gold traces in almost every pan. The obstacle? Enormous boulders block access to the gold-rich bedrock. If someone could move those boulders and reach the water supply below, they'd have enough wealth to buy all the oil in Saudi Arabia. Stanton and nearby Rich Hill were part of the Arizona Territory back in the 1800s, when the region was remote, with poor roads and little communication. When the Civil War began, troops were pulled east, and Apache leaders like Cochise saw an opportunity, launching attacks on settlers and forcing the closure of mines. In 1858, gold was discovered along the Gila River, attracting miners and prospectors who earned between $30 and $125 daily. When those claims dried up, many flocked to new gold sites along the Colorado River, including La Paz. This gold camp quickly grew with saloons, trading posts, and gambling houses, and friendly Apache groups came to town to trade. Stories of richer deposits further inland, shared by Apaches, stirred excitement. A prospector named Abraham Harlow Peoples was especially intrigued. Peoples, a North Carolina native and Mexican War veteran, had found success in mining during the 1849 gold rush and decided to explore Arizona. In April 1863, he reached Fort Yuma and assembled a group, including the knowledgeable guide Pauline Weaver. Weaver, a skilled frontiersman with Cherokee ancestry, knew the land and local cultures well, and guided Peoples and his team on their search for Arizona's legendary riches. Their journey marked the beginning of one of Arizona's most celebrated gold-seeking expeditions, a pursuit that continues to tempt treasure hunters today. The Peoples Party journeyed north along the Colorado River, reaching La Paz, where Weaver had previously struck gold. There, they saw dozens of Mexicans panning for gold along the riverbanks. The group then moved east across the Plumosa Mountains and into Cullen Valley. Near a mountain range, they spotted a herd of antelope. Peoples recalled, "I shot 3 antelope and we named the spot Antelope Mountain." While the meat dried, a few of us decided to go prospecting nearby. We hit gold in the creek bed on the very first day. While they were mining, 4 Mexican members of the party discovered their horses had wandered off. Searching for a better vantage point, one climbed Antelope Mountain, going all the way to the summit. There, in a rocky saddle, he found crevices overflowing with gold nuggets. Thrilled by the discovery, he gathered as many nuggets as he could carry and hurried down to tell the others. At dawn, the entire group climbed to the top. The mountain basin was scattered with large gold nuggets, and crevices were packed with yellow ore. The find was so astounding that they named the mountain Rich Hill. Peoples noted, "The ground was so rich that with just 3 of us scratching around, we collected $1,800 in nuggets by evening." This was when gold sold at about $16 an ounce. One account claims the group gathered $7,000 in gold before breakfast on their first morning. By the end of the month, over $250,000 worth of nuggets and dust had been collected, most of it with butcher knives and tin cups. When food and ammunition ran low, they headed to Maricopa Wells, a small station near the Salt River. There, they met Jack Swilling, who would later help found Phoenix. Swilling joined them, and soon, the area was bustling with prospectors staking claims. Mike Goldwater, the grandfather of Barry Goldwater, opened a store in the growing camp. The People's Party was pulling in an average of 25 pounds of gold per week, with stories spreading as far as San Francisco. One day, a young Mexican miner found a nugget weighing over 3 pounds, igniting excitement in the camp. Newspapers like the San Francisco Daily Alta began reporting regularly on Rich Hill's gold rush. Among the visitors was William Ury from Tucson, who wrote a letter to the Daily Alta describing his experience. "I saw 10 men on top of a mountain between Antelope Peak and Indian Gulch, gathering gold as if it were pebbles. With just butcher knives, they collected 10 pounds in 2 hours." Ury tried his hand at gold picking and managed to gather $75 worth of gold in half an hour. During his 4-day stay, Ury observed the party consistently gathering about $1,500 worth of gold daily, with nearby prospectors also pulling in impressive amounts. A La Paz merchant, Mr. Landsberger, reported seeing several miners bringing in significant sums. One Mr. Weber with 12 pounds, a Mexican named Redondo with 8, and others with nearly 100 ounces in total. The Daily Alta was captivated by the gold rush in Arizona. In its October 16, 1863 issue, the paper reported, "2 men named Bryant and Halcombe, employing 6 workers with rockers for over a month, pulled out between $10,000 and $12,000 in gold dust. Even the local Apache community found ways to profit." A reporter noted that the Apaches, acting like savvy businessmen, sold bundles of dry grass for $1 each, only to set them ablaze if buyers tried to haggle, ensuring they'd pay the full price next time. However, tensions soon flared. Goods began disappearing, and settlers suspected the Apaches. One morning, 2 Apaches arrived in Weaver, and when miners confronted them about the missing items, a scuffle broke out. Both Apaches were killed and the fragile peace between the settlers and the Apache people shattered. Raids followed, with horses, mules, and supplies vanishing. In March 1864, Tonto Apaches ambushed 3 miners in Hassayampa Canyon and killed 5 Mexican farmers shortly after. Despite the hostilities, the Apaches occasionally showed a lighter side. In one instance, they ambushed 3 Mexican miners on their way home with 7 loaded burros. After disarming the men and taking their supplies, the Apache leader, speaking fluent Spanish, told them to return to Sonora and bring more burros for the Apaches. By early 1865, Rich Hill's gold started to thin out. The Daily Alta reported, "The Great Weaver diggings seem exhausted, with only a few Mexicans dry washing for the meager remains." Over the next 70 years, only a few prospectors scratched a living from the area. In 1935, mining engineer Fred B. Peel conducted an extensive survey on foot, covering over 2,100 miles. His letter to Oro Seco Lantid noted, "I found unusually good gold values in almost every sample, with some spots yielding as much as $1.50 per cubic yard." Additional studies showed promise. W.A. Farish reported values ranging from 30 cents to 1.47 per cubic yard, while engineer W.L. Leland advised his firm to dig deeper beneath the false bedrock for potentially higher yields. In 1951, consultant Guy C. Riddell conducted a thorough examination and made a stunning claim. He believed that the Rich Hill and Weaver Creek placers held the highest concentrations of gold he'd encountered. He estimated between 100 million and 750 million cubic yards of gravel packed with valuable gold deposits. This was potentially monumental. If Riddell was correct, the nuggets found at Rich Hill were just the beginning. What lay beneath could be one of the richest untapped gold deposits in the world. Later reports echoed this optimism. San Francisco placer operator W.L. Leland estimated a substantial deposit along Weaver Creek, and an engineer for the U.S. Mining and Smelting Corp. proposed that ancient river channels below the area might be incredibly rich, if accessible. Geologist John M. Nicol developed a theory to explain Rich Hill's gold concentration, suggesting that geological forces created a unique deposit that had only been partially uncovered by early miners. This finding continues to inspire interest in the Weaver District's untold riches. Geologist John M. Nicol theorized that the lower end of Antelope Gulch was once part of an ancient valley, eventually filled by volcanic eruptions that blocked the valley's outlet and created a large lake. He noted signs of these buried lake beds, as well as lava flows that formed the prominent peaks of Antelope and Rich Hill. Over time, erosion partially restored the valley's original shape, though it has yet to reach the same depth as in ancient times. Nicole observed, "There's a buried channel beneath the current valley floor, cutting through exposed rims of the old channel in several places. These rims are schistose rocks, perfect for trapping gold." Nicole speculated that some sections of bedrock in the deepest parts of the old channel could contain gold worth over $80 per cubic yard. So, why hasn't this potential treasure trove been mined? Veteran field engineer Glenn Walker of the Arizona Department of Mineral Resources explains that the challenge has always been financial. Nobody with the funds to tackle the problems here has ever committed to it. Without adequate funding, you either need a miracle or you go broke. Walker has tried to convince developers to install a long conveyor system in the narrow creek bed to move the massive boulders obstructing access. "That's the richest placer in Arizona, maybe in the entire Southwest," he said. "I'm convinced no one's ever reached true bedrock, and anyone in mining knows that's where the big gold is." Walker remains uncertain whether mining the area would be financially feasible, noting, "We can't see how deep the boulders go, but there's likely only about 5% gravel down there. And if you can reach it, there's plenty of water for mining." He added, "It's the lack of water and those huge boulders that have kept Rich Hill's treasure hidden since 1882. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to read the original article or purchase the magazine from which it was taken, please check out our website, truetalesofburiedtreasure.com.